Disclaimer: the following Vox transmission contains potentially sanctioned language and topics. Listen only if you are of proper rank. The Emperor protects.
From the dankest depths of the warp, it's the Horus Heresy, the Horus Heresy podcast for heretics, traitors, rectivists, and the scum of 4chan. I am the host, and these are my slaves. Sorry, guests. I meant to say guests.
Hello, I am Nachtgeist.
I'm Gakillian, also known as Gek.
I'm Crossfuck Off.
I am Alferi, Nelio, that one, yeah.
I am your spiritual liege, Rabute Gilliman.
I do believe that's all of us.
Think so.
Did you want to introduce, what kind of things we're working on?
I play Custodes.
I mean, it's pretty obvious what I play if you can't figure it out.
Alpha Legion, obviously.
Yeah, definitely Alpha Legion, 100%.
Imperial Guard, but looking to branch into Horus Heresy myself.
White Scars.
Fight me.
Astra Militarum, you mean? Can't be Imperial Guard, that's nowhere near copyrightable enough. I do Iron Warriors. I'm the guy who occasionally posts in the general threads with all the painted Iron
Are you
Warriors.
the guy that continues to post the one picture of Iron Warriors surrounded by World Eaters?
With the big guys.
No, actually, I don't think...
Those are Iron Hands, bud.
Whatever, they're like the same thing.
Hey, I will fight you.
Iron within,
I
chop
will
off
find
your
out where you
hand,
live and I will
same
fight.
thing.
In case you couldn't tell, I'm playing Iron Hands.
Yeah, that's fair.
Magnus did nothing wrong.
He didn't do nothing. Magnus a good boy.
So, it seems like plenty of new stuff is recently dropped from Forge World in the last couple of weeks.
It's almost like the most hyped Horus Heresy book is about to come out.
After how long?
Quite a while ago.
How long have you been waiting? And couldn't balance Thousand Suns and still can't.
So have they been releasing the books in order of the timeline, or just whenever, hopping back and forth?
No, not at all.
No.
No, because Inferno is supposed to take place at the beginning, isn't it? It's like one of the very first things of the Horus Heresy.
Yeah.
Was Prospero. Mm-hmm. So who knows what Forge World is planning and why they're doing it. They'll probably do Terra tomorrow.
Oh, God.
I mean, this is all very well and good, but we all have to agree.
What's the passing of the Angel of Death?
I'll just point out, Inferno and Angelus are all well and good, but everyone should know the most important thing that Forge World has kind of put on the chopping block at the moment to go out and release is, of course, Tyrant Siege Terminators.
Pretty important.
So long.
Iron Warriors finally got something.
These guys are nice. Look better with some Ultramarine symbols on them, though.
So,
we can be better just fine.
You're not allowed to be bitter anymore.
a question though, as somebody who's more familiar with the 40k lore, were Custodes previously mentioned being at the Burning of Prospero? Was it something they just kind of added in to, release the Custodes' faction in Horus Heresy?
No, I'm pretty sure they were mentioned beforehand as being a part of the battle.
So, do you feel that the addition of the Custodes models might be behind the large delay in Inferno?
I can't help but think that most of the delay in Inferno is probably along the lines of the Thousand Suns were one of the smaller legions, and all of them were frankly ridiculous and very psychic. And if you're making that as an army, that's going to be interesting to balance, especially with the 40k rules on psychic phases. If someone specializes and goes balls to the wall for psychic and someone else does not, then you just wreck that phase entirely.
Well, I mean, unless you, all of your guys turn into chaos.
Well, yeah, but then you have a load of free units.
I actually haven't had a good look at the Thousand Suns rules yet. I've just kind of had a look at their models, which look really nice, by the way.
So I think off that point, we should start talking about the Thousand Suns rules.
Magnus is rape-tastic.
Magnus is mean.
You don't want your own beat boops? Big shields, big hammers?
Those are amazing.
You don't like those guys?
Those are going in my Iron Hands army for sure.
No, I don't. Pretty sure I have the right Iron Legion.
Generic Iron Legion. Nice.
Again, you got the wrong Iron Army there, bud.
I'm looking at the Thousand Sun rules, and most of the thing that kind of pops up is their Terminators who can choose psychic powers seem to be remarkably well costed for the Thousand Sun player for what they do.
I'm upset. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not happy about this. They're incredibly undercosted, and Forge World deserves a knee to the knee or a bat to the kneecaps for what they did.
Well, with the two they got, they're already crazy powerful. Can you imagine if you were able to pick from anything?
Yeah.
What are they? What if they were to change it to represent their versatility and made it that you can select from multiple disciplines and you always gain the Primaris of the disciplines you select?
That wouldn't be as bad.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wait, can they choose invisibility?
Yes.
I think invisibility was banned from 30K.
Was it?
No, you're not able to take it. I mean, maybe in some tournament. I'm probably just thinking about tournaments that I participate in.
Gotcha.
That's why they're useful, because they can levitate into position and destroy an entire column of tanks with one molten beam.
Can Lorgar choose? He can't choose invisibility, can
No.
he? He can't take that? Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, my bad. Mr. Lorgar isn't able to do the invisibility.
Well, it's good to know that Forge World recognizes how bullshit that is.
I mean, how many different what are like auxiliaries do the Space Wolves need
Not
to take
anymore.
on the Thousand Suns, the smallest legion? Sisters of Silence, Custodes, Titans.
Surprise attack, Magnus not joining in, Thousand Suns not knowing what's going on.
Not any Titans, but Titans of the Ordo Sinister, right?
Did they actually roll up with Psi Titans? I mean, that whole ordeal just makes the Space Wolves look like little bitches, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I have a Thousand Suns player that, throws his propaganda at me every now and then, so pretty well versed in arguing for the Thousand Suns here.
The mutating sociopaths did nothing wrong.
Didn't do nothing. That's not true. Gilliman did nothing wrong. I mean, hey, when you can't go anywhere because there's a giant warp storm and there's like 3 traitor legions attacking you, what else are you gonna do besides sit and hold out?
But how did Sanguinius get to Terra from freaking McCrag?
I mean, I just like the moment when Lionel Johnson takes Kurz back to Sanguinius and Robert Gilman and goes, yeah, we could kill him now, but he's having actually scarily accurate visions about being killed by an assassin, the Emperor sent, which means the Emperor's probably alive. And Reboot going, oh man, that's a bummer. Whoops.
Hell yeah. Exactly. I don't know how... Forge World's gonna have to pull something out of their ass for that.
It's warp travel.
Fuck.
Teleports to Terra, nothing personnel, traitors.
Because he's Sanguinius. And in the entire heresy, Sanguinius did literally nothing wrong. Okay, so Thousand Suns rules. Let's actually go over them. That sound good? All right. So first off, their warlord has to be an independent character, highest leadership, and be psychic.
You mean their warlord has to be an independent character? Literally unplayable.
Yeah,
My word. That is an
I
incredibly
know.
stringent restriction.
it's fucked.
Literally unplayable.
It means I don't know. My army with my tactical sergeant being my warlord, it's really good. And
Forge World, please fix your game.
Thousand Suns are just crippled by that. So, Master Level 3 Praetors, etc., etc. A lot of fun. And there's a Cult Arcana, which makes them real unique. I really like it, but it's also fucking cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So, 3-up Invuln Cat Fracti.
Psych out.
And that's the only one you're ever going to see.
I mean, you might see some Tartaros just for all the sweeping. Like, Tartaros, the ability to sweep with the resiliency of Cataphracti.
That's true. 4-up Invuln Tartaros. You're pretty much only ever going to see Raptor or maybe Corvidae on heavy weapon squads.
There are people who are going to just paint up Blood Raider on armies. But surely you want to experience the sheer hobby vision of playing someone who's painted an entire Stormcast army with halberds.
And I won't play those people.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. Age of Sigmar hurts my soul. Hey man, Age of Gilliman soon though.
Age of Smegmar. Okay.
Wow, how did that come about?
Then there's the Signs Importance rule, which is very fun and makes Sister Silence the absolute hard counter to the 1K summons.
Be a real shame if you perilled unsheathed psych out grenades.
Any perils, entire army gets pinned. Be a real shame if my fucking Shai-Hulud rape van shot 3 psych out missiles at you.
I'm just wondering, with all the Psychers and Thousand Suns, like, how viable do you reckon it'd be to just spam the hell out of Calexis Assassin?
Well, I mean, I guess they were around in 30K. There's the old Nemesis book and whatnot.
I'm kind of surprised they haven't put the Assassins in Talons of the Emperor.
Well, it wouldn't because those don't exist. 30K.
I mean, you don't know that. The book's not out yet. You don't have it.
40K normies get out.
About building a narrative, man. Do whatever you want. Go wild.
Well, I mean, it would be kind of neat.
They'll probably be in there.
You'd probably put them behind someone, let's be fair.
When can I start fielding Remembrancers? It's about building a narrative, man. All right, so where were we on the Thousand Suns rules? Let's have a look.
Axis of Dissolution looks pretty nice.
Which is a pretty big deal in 30k, seeing how they don't
Yeah.
have the as they shall know no fear, right?
It's BS2 snapshots. You need nothing else.
It's hot garbage is what it is. Yeah, so like auto passing morale and pinning it on objectives, that's kind of nice.
Yeah. And then the fact they can reroll to hit wound against enemies that are falling back, considering the enemies can actually fall back, that's not too bad.
BS2 Overwatch.
I feel like that'd be better for what's the missions where you have to destroy entire units and to gain points and whatnot.
It's not very good because for anyone that's going to be falling back, it's at the end of your shooting phase. So they have to keep running. They have to fail to like leadership 9 or 10 checks. It's pretty situational, and then having to have all your troops be at max size and not more vehicles than guys, that hurts.
Now, are there any rules to represent the flesh change for the Thousand Sons?
So the flesh change is gone. Sign's important to sort of what that's for, because everyone is like, oh fuck, he's periling, he's going to turn into a fucking thing. So everyone gets scared and goes to ground because they're a bunch of
How
pussies.
about the other one? Guard of the Crimson King.
So we got through the bad one, and now here's the one that's gonna ruin the fucking game.
Oh man, Sekhmet Terminators as troops is nice.
Magnus as your compulsory HQ choice. Oh, that's pretty neato. He does not count as a Lord of War. Well, ain't that just dandy?
Hey guys, did you want to take Primarch's Chosen without taking Primarch's Chosen and make it better? Well,
Yep,
do I have a right of war for you?
you take Maggie, you take Sekhmets, you take a Typhon, you have
Ugh.
fun.
It's disgusting.
Yeah,
Mhm. Just-
yeah, no extra victory points.
Oh, and you know what that does? That means that the price of failure isn't there anymore.
I like the fact they can teleport in with fear, and they get the reroll of Invulnerables, so that's pretty good.
Because he's not a Lord of War.
So you can Alpha Strike and survive.
Like, you weren't going to kill him anyways, but come on. So I don't know if anyone else played Fantasy and had to deal with the 3-up invul and rerolling ones, Chaos Lord to fuck off, but it's not fun. And that's an entire 2-wound unit doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, disgusting. Screamer Star, yeah. Smash Fucker Prime, etc.
Yeah.
So then, in addition to taking Magnus's HQ, rerolling invuls on your Deep Strike, Fear, and Troop Terminators, you also roll 2 dice and pick the highest for your warp charges.
Don't scare me.
I mean, I'll point out, you do need that extra bit of warp charges if you've got Magnus. Like, if you're going to take him, it's go big or go home. You want as much warp as you can get.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and like, what, Invisible Strength D Novas with 2d6 hits? With anti-tank or something?
Well, you've already won the psychic phase just by putting him on the table.
Ugh, just ass cancer. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing. It's a good thing he can deep strike in with reroll invulnerables when he's doing invisible strength D Novas, because you want him to survive after he's nuked that quarter.
And these are double range strength D Novas, just for anyone who wasn't.
Yeah. What's that? A gunline army? It's alright, Magnus turned up pretty close. They're all dead. Problem solved.
Okay, so some special war gear. You got Arcane Litanies, stops perils once a game. You know, you're always going to take that forever. The Ether Fire Cannon is fucking terrible. 10 points for Soul Blaze on a Plasma Cannon, and everybody knows how good Soul Blaze is. Oh boy, fucking game changer.
Dude, Soul Blaze is god tier. It's what win games. Watch it get buffed in 8th edition, and it becomes the most broken thing in the game. And now that all these things have it, they're all going to be broken.
Exploded Small Blast.
Oh boy,
That'd be better.
Yeah, but that would just complicate Soul Blaze
Oh,
even
boy.
more. You got to roll 20 dice
got-
to see if it goes off, and then see how many wounds it does, and then someone can explode at the end, and then you're gonna forget about it anyways. So that's never gonna happen because no one cares about Soul Blaze.
Soul Blaze is useless and
Well,
should
see,
not
that's
have
when
been
you
added.
get.
Aren't
End of
the
story.
Kopeshes just power swords?
Asphyx shells are
See,
fun.
the added bonus
Shred
of making
bolt
Soul Blaze
weapons,
that
full
complicated
rotor
is in
Oh.
order to make everything
That's
WYSIWYG, your
It's a good thing
opponent
they
will start
just
setting their
released
models on
assault cannon
fire
models.
rather than deal with all the dice rolling.
Yeah,
Did your model survive the Inferno? Nope. Well, take them off the table.
yeah. Just bring a can of lighter fluid and a lighter, and just they're Soul
Yeah,
Blaze.
forge the narrative. So, do you guys want to move on with the Thousand Suns rules, or do you guys want to keep going through them?
Yeah, we'll just have a quick run through. So, Psychic Dreadnoughts and either HQ or Elites, we're not really sure.
I do like the one new Dreadnought they've thrown in. I didn't like the old Dreadnought for Thousand Suns, but the one where HQ one.
Yeah, like the one with the Kopesh is very nice.
Castellax that you can shoot psychic powers through that explode if you perils. It's great. Yep. So Sekhmet, we've already gone over. Disgustingly underpriced. It's great.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for people in the threads to argue whether or not a power Kopesh counts as an axe or sword. See, it started already.
Guys, clearly you arm them with 2 Kopeshes and their lightning claws.
The Kenetai Occult are pretty fun. They're a fluffy unit. Their models look like shit, but that's just too bad. They're really strong though. Does like 80 attacks on the charge at strength 7 AP2 sound like fun? Weapon skill 5. Oh yeah.
See, that just sounds like ridiculous overkill. If you want that, just throw waves of cultists at people with rending.
I feel like cultists and army militia and 30k were a mistake.
I think Tainted Flesh and Cult Horde.
I've seen a couple of battle reports where you've got full legion versus cultists, and way to numbers, man.
Yeah, that's why. It's exactly why I don't like facing a
Cultists and militia are okay until you bring in Tainted Flesh and Cult Horde, and that just ruins it.
Yeah.
There's the Amatar Occult, which are like the sniper guys. And, they're your recon marines, but they got a special psychic power that lets them reroll hits and wounds and ignore cover, which is fucking sweet.
Rape.
That's nice because regular
rape,
recon
and
marines are
rape.
kind of ass. I never like them.
Especially with sniper. Holy fuck, that's good with sniper. Yes. You got Magistus Ben Kingsley, who's pretty neat.
Amon King.
He likes cover saves and has a weird fantasy style breath weapon that he uses once. It's kind of shit, but whatever. And stops outflank, deep strike, and lets you outflank shit. It's neat, but not that great. Ahriman, Master Level 4, big ass, just big asshole altogether.
Invisible.
Undercosted as you'd
2d6
expect.
Novas.
Pro tip for a cheap Thousand Suns army: just buy all the Armons that nobody wants from Burning of Prospero boxes. Boom, there's your whole army right there. Done.
I paid someone $1 for Ahriman's casting hand because he had 3 of them. It's great. So many of them. And then there's Magnus. Oh, he's so much better. Holy fuck.
Chaos blown the fuck out yet again. Chaos is a downgrade for everything. I mean, just look at the Chaos Space Marines Codex. An absolute disgrace.
Chaos Cox, go home.
I mean, I'll point out Magnus was the largest, but he was also at times perfectly normal size, depending on what he wanted. He was powerful enough to just do whatever.
Well, yeah, you just flip the swole switch and, spread it up to 8 feet tall.
I mean, it's a good thing with all his power that Lehman Russ was able to break his spine, the completely inconsequential part of the body that has nothing to do with his psychic powers, because, that would have been awkward otherwise.
Yeah, so Magnus is ass cancer in its entirety. He's got a better gun than Mortarion, better psychic powers than Lorgar, same strength toughness as the tough Primarchs.
Yeah, just vomits mind bullets.
He's just a giant bitch.
So how does Magnus stack up against Horus? Because he's 5 points cheaper.
Well, Magnus doesn't really do as well in combat, but it doesn't matter because he's not...
Well, no one does as well as Horus in close combat.
Horus isn't going to get into combat. Horus is going to die. Yeah, so Magnus would win against Horus by sheer dint of strengthy psychic powers. The Wolves. Excellent. Okay. Well then, so Space Wolves, they get +1 weapon skill if they've charged, which is amazing.
That's not busted at all. I hate how some legions just have blatantly better basic rules than others.
Yeah, they have counterattack, so they're basically always charging forever, and have to sweeping advance.
So they have counterattack and +1 weapon skill on the charge.
Yeah, and they have to sweeping advance because Forge World thinks that's a negative. They got Hunter's Gate, which gives them +1 to run and consolidate if you don't have Jump Pack Termi. And they have Acute Senses, Night Vision, and Infiltrators can't deploy within 18 inches. What the fuck?
So essentially, they're Blood Angels and Night Lords special rules. They get Night Vision, they get all this bonus to their combat.
They're basically identical to their 40k rules, like their chapter tactics, but better. Fuck. What are you doing for it?
So that's just disgusting.
So then there's the...
I mean, compare this to shit like Salamanders, where what they get +1 strength to flame weapons and -1 to all runs and charges.
And don't get to add their initiative to sweeping advance. So Space Wolves have to take extra HQs. Space Wolf players on Bolter and Chainstorm whine about this because they're shit at the game.
Well, Space Wolves players, yeah, they are shit at the game.
If you're listening to this, you know who you are. They're the most victim.
Well, their Legion. I mean, to be fair, their Legion does have the worst
They're
lore.
hands down.
I mean, look at their Primarch.
They're the most victim-y fan base of any Legion.
Space Wolf fanboys, I think, are one of the biggest
And
cancers in
up
all
until the Tyrant Siege tournament just came out, second only to Iron Warriors.
So something I want to ask about the Burning Arrow board game. Why the hell wasn't the Space Wolf character Bjorn the Fell-Handed before he got stuck in a dread?
Okay.
You can just use him as a Dreadnought Beyond model.
He was just a dude by that point in the Heresy. That would have been cool though to have like a pre-Dreadnought
was-
Bjorn model.
Just use Gygor, and every time he dies in battle, you can say he's Bjorn again,
Yeah,
and then
no,
just
he
put him
was
in
just a
Dreadnought.
dude.
Even has the lightning claw and everything.
He wasn't really relevant, was he?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
wasn't,
he wasn't a
he
relevant.
wasn't really anyone.
And not until after the Prospero event. What are you talking about? Bjorn is in the Burning of Prospero game. He's the guy with the bolter.
Okay. Yeah. Reasonable.
Yeah,
So then,
you don't see him.
with the back to Space Wolves, with their HQ thing, they also they don't get to take regular troops like every other Legion because they have to be special. They have to be so fucking special. Holy shit. So they get the Grey Slayers, which are like a better tactical squad. They don't get Fury of the Legion, but oh no. They don't get Chaplains, Libby's, or Primus Medicae. They get the Priest of Fenris with his two different things. And yeah, they have their own Warlord traits because they're special snowflakes. Their Warlord traits are all Cancer.
Iron Priest.
Sure. So, first one, the get of the Worm, get D3 infantry squads with fear and defensive grenades. Howl of the Death Wolf, you can reroll, run, and charge, and Grey Slayers can both run and charge.
Well, they are fast. They go on all fours.
Man, that's just badass. You're charging me? No, you're not. I'm charging you.
Waster of the Land, Warlord and his unit get moved through cover, and ignores cover when they shoot something within 12. So maybe put him in a plasma support squad. And then Stubborn, which is okay, but whatever.
Well, isn't that just the entire Burning of Prospero?
Hunger of the Void seems like the worst one, even
Yeah,
though
it is.
in any other Legion that'd probably be really good.
2d6 though.
You got some their Right of War, or their two Rights of War, rather. You got the Pale Hunters. So the Circling Wolves gives them +1 on reserve rolls. Bleeding Harry lets them get infantry units get hit and run because they need to be White Scars as well. That's not even that bad. That's actually probably better for them because it lets them get back into combat easier.
I mean, Fury of the Pack is going to make it savage when you end up trying to charge them. They counter-charge you. They probably have their defensive grenades going, and then the units next to them charge you and get even more attacks.
You've got the Bloodied Claw Right of War. So your Grey Slayers and Assault Squads get Furious Assault, which isn't a real rule. Good job, Forge World. So it's probably...
Apparently, I think the World Eaters would still beat these guys in close combat, though, with their free chain axes.
So as of now, they get no benefit from that. And I will be a rules lawyer. They've been making this mistake for fucking years.
Just make it
It's been in
rules,
like
man.
every Imperial armor. Overwhelming Assault, they get +1 to combat res in the enemy deployment zone. Okay, sure. And then your Warlord gets the Howl of the Death Wolf Warlord trait. They get to use the Howl of the Death Wolf, but it doesn't
Picture
take
game
up the
Forge
Warlord
World.
trait. And if they already have it, they get to do it twice. They can't take Artillery or Mobile or Slow and Purposeful. That's a little bit bad. You don't get Rapiers or Artillery tanks, but whatever. Actually, no, you do get Artillery tanks because
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing Space Wolves, you're just wanting to get in their face and wolf at them rather than like shooting them with the tanks anyway.
I mean, this is a lot of rules. Do you think Space Wolves players will be able to remember all of these, given that they're, not very smart?
that's true. They can take Fenrisian Wolves, so boy, they just needed to add that.
If I was a Space Wolves player, I'd be ecstatic right now. This is amazing.
Yef. Cyber Wolves or Feel No Pain Wolves, oh boy.
You just throw in your two little wolf pals because you can't actually fight someone one-on-one. You gotta have two wolves with you all the time.
When you mentioned Feel No Pain Wolves just now, for some reason I pictured like one of the Phoenician wolves being an apothecary and like just dragging wounded space wolves away, perform surgery on them. It's like Lassie just dragging away a wounded space wolf. Like, what's that boy? Is Sergeant Thule down?
Then there's the frost weapons, which are mostly reasonable, except for the Great Frost Blade, which is just like it's the rules for a Man Reaper. It's a better Man Reaper because sure, why the fuck not, right?
Reaping blow, master crafted, two-handed.
I mean, that's the thing. They have to co-op as many different things from as many different legions as possible. Otherwise, you wouldn't know they're Space Wolves.
Yeah, they have the Either Rune armor, which is artificial armor that gives the guy an extra wound. Oh, fuck that. And reroll Deny the Witch. So Either Rune armor is hot cancer because of an extra wound, right? That's fun and fair. And reroll the Deny the Witch. Like, sure, why the fuck not?
Because, hey, we don't need to shit on the Psychers anymore with all of our Sisters of Silence or anything.
It's because they clearly disbelieve all the psychic powers that aren't from the good, wholesome Fenris.
Yeah, so Grey Slayers are hot cancer because they're better tacticals. You can fire bolters in charge or run in charge, roughly. They can buy power weapons for everybody for 5 points, but
What?
people think that's overcosted.
Right, they are 125
Retards.
points.
Baseball players are cancer.
And 10 points a model, it's the same.
Can
cost,
they buy
right?
combi weapons?
The Sarge can. 1 in 5 can take a combi weapon.
Yeah, so you spruce a couple of power axes, spruce a couple of combi weapons, have your lovely Omni squad with countercharge rolling around in a Rhino. It's all good.
Do you think they'll get a bonus for when throwing a grenade before an assault? Just the sergeant screaming catch or fetch.
Yeah. You have the Deathsworn pack, which are pretty unpleasant. Everybody has a power axe, artificial armor, and then stasis grenades that are AP1 Fleshbane gets hot. And, but they're also defensive grenades, and if you try and run away, you get to roll 3d6 and take the lowest for your sweeping advance. Like, come on.
Yeah, because it's stasis. But the thing I can't help but think about when I'm hearing all these rules is it does sound very much like Forge World kind of went out of their way to try and preserve what Space Wolf players have from 40k. Yeah. So they can pretty much just port their armies across, kind of almost piecemeal, with like no problem.
That's what they're going to do anyways, because, Space Wolves players are lazy.
So it's fun and fair. Oh, and they can take rad grenades and are fearless in combat. And if you kill them, they get to do the Wolfen thing and punch back at initiative 1.
Lovely.
And they can only be joined by a Speaker of the Dead, which is just so terrible and awful. Then there's the Varagir, which are cataphracti with frost weapons.
After hearing all the stuff that Space Wars 1000 gets, as an Iron Warriors player, I am very glad I get some Cyclone missile launchers and the occasional autocannon. It really feels like we're on par.
As an Iron Hands player, it really makes me happy that I get overcosted Breacher Marine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it really worked.
But to be fair, the best part of this book is going to be the Custodes. There's going to be Custodes everywhere. The most inexpensive, arguably, army to start.
You have no excuse to not have a Custodes army if you want to collect one. It's what, $30 or less for a unit of 5? I mean, sure, it's expensive to buy the tanks and whatnot, but they're what, 200 points a unit for 5?
All right, let's run through these guys real quick. So you have their
Priest of Fenris. This guy is what?
They got their 2 specials. They do things. Speaker of the Dead is like Wolf Priest in 40k, exactly. And Caster of Runes is like a shitty librarian. They're not very good, which I'm happy about.
Because they're not special enough. We need our rune priests and our dog trainers and whatnot.
You got Gygor, who's just a faggot with Lightning Claw. Varl, who is a praetor with like an Armor Bane power axe. And a heavy bolter, which is kind of fun.
Does he one-hand it, though?
Yes, he does.
Oh, jeez.
Fuck?
He's in Termi armor, though.
Oh, okay, that makes it a little bit more
I was expecting
tolerable.
some dude in power armor, just huge, though.
Just being Sergeant Harker? Yes.
That is his bolt pistol.
Yeah. Lehman Russ is a gigantic bitch. Oh, man.
Lehman Russ is just a deleter of units. This dude is
He
crazy.
makes Vargir and veteran troops, and yeah, he just fucking murders people.
Angron, except not terrible and not like what 300 points.
So he's got a 2-up armor, 4-up invuln, 3-up invuln against Flamer Melt Plasma, which is
hmm
whatever, and then
He's the very best.
because it's made of cold.
It's
and
just too
Heat
cold.
weapons don't work on him. So cue the Mr. Freeze jokes. Chill out. Anyways, so this is the fun part about the armor. If you're in combat with him and in base to base, take -1 to hit. And if you're there for more than a turn, -2. So tactical marines can't hit him. Anything that's not weapon skill 5 or better can't hit him. Anything else is hitting him on 6s.
That's because he's Leman Russ. They go into combat and they realize they're in combat with the Emperor's executioner. Well, what can they do besides just soil their armor right there on the spot?
He's got an axe that hits at strength 8 and Sunder, which is whatever dog shit, but we'll live with that.
Yeah, no one cares about that. Let's look at the sword.
The sword. Oh boy. The sword of Bale Knight. AP2 sword that shreds. And if you take a wound from it, which you're gonna do because he has 6 attacks, 7 attacks. You roll 2 dice, compare it to your toughness. If it's over, you take D3 wounds because why not? At AP2, of course.
Sever life.
He's got a halfway decent gun, and yeah, and the wolves are whatever. They're pretty easy to kill, honestly.
I think he's going to be better in close combat because I think what's the book that just came out for Leman Russ? The GW book, something like that. I think doesn't that detail his fight with Lion? Lionel beats the piss out of him, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, didn't Lionel beat him? Yeah, Russ thought they were done. Then Lionel just punched him in the face.
Yeah, Russ was like, "Oh, this is." Russ was laughing because he was like, "This fight was pointless," and then Lionel sucker punched him because he's a giant faggot. No, so Talons of the Emperor. They exist.
Yeah, I mean, we need ample time to discuss the
We
Stormcast
do.
conversion possibilities.
Okay. They were experimental for the. They were an experimental thing. Iron or Imperial Fists and the Blood Angels had them.
Yeah, it's
Blood
pretty much
Angels-
those two legions.
The Blood Angels apparently had an unlimited amount of them and could put
Well,
them
they
on
had a Forge
yeah.
World that pretty much made them.
This was a bit rushed. I feel we should have
so
more time to go
you
over
got
each
your,
legion.
You got
But
your
hey,
heavy
it's
flamers
whatever.
you can swap for assault cannons, which is stupid.
That's not bad.
So if you ever wanted a Leviathan with assault cannon nipples,
Yep.
Yeah.
Assault Cannon Nipple
Blood
Leviathan.
Angels is the army for you.
You can, however, put a lot of assault cannons on some land speeders.
Yeah, that you could. Storm shields are pretty nice.
I do like the storm shields. I feel like you could easily replace those with the custody shields, though, if you don't want to spend the money on buying Forge World stuff and you have the bits.
They are quite similar, yeah.
They weren't as common as they were in 40k.
It's pretty good. No, they're bigger. Yeah, Warlord Titans are 33 meters. According to Lexiconum.
Those are old measurements, though.
True.
Yeah, there's really not.
The answer is big enough to be scary. None of the vehicles in 40k are to scale.
Yeah, they're really not. I mean, it's
Nobody
fine
knows.
using one of the old rhinos. It's all good. Old rhino. Oh, the old rhino with art scaled marines goes really well. I'm really proud of that unit.
True scale.
Art scale. They're definitely not true scale. See, now that just needs to be the outro.